are we talking about? Because if it's already there in your books, it is seen as a given that it must be followed.
I have a situation, for example, in my state, which is Akwa Ibom State. The state was created on the ethnic arrangement of a tripod. The Ibibio, the largest ethnic group, are predominantly in Uyo senatorial district. The Anang, next to the Ibibio numerically, are predominantly in the Akwa senatorial district. Then the third leg of the tripod is the Oron ethnic group, which has 5 local governments out of 12 in Eket senatorial district. The understanding was always that the rotation of power will visit these 3 ethnic groups. Now it is the turn of the Oro in Eket senatorial district to produce a governor, and what we are hearing now is that it has to be on senatorial basis. And knowing that the largest ethnic group in the state can be found in the 3 senatorial districts. Let me understand. The largest ethnic group in Akwa Ibom State, yes, which is the Ibibio, can be found in 3 senatorial districts. So in other words, if it's zoned to any senatorial district, they could lay claim to that opportunity.
Isn't that democracy? Numbers?
It is democracy, but even the Constitution envisaged a situation where you give every component part a sense of belonging. And we will not have that if the largest ethnic group begins to lay claim.
How has it been like since creation of that state, and what has the PDP been doing concerning the governorship candidate?
The first governor, civilian governor in this dispensation was Obong Victor Ta, and he is from the Ibibio ethnic group, which is dominant in Uyo senatorial district. So Uyo senatorial district had its turn. After 8 years, he himself instigated a situation where the thing rotated to Akwa senatorial district, where out of 10 local governments, the Anang have 8. And he specifically mentioned that the shift was for the purpose of the Anang producing a governor, represented now by Chief Goswill Akpabio. So naturally, it should shift to the 3rd senatorial district, which is Eket senatorial district. To be fair to the governor, he has pronounced that it is the turn of Eket senatorial district, without specifying, as his predecessor did, that it should go to the 3rd leg of the ethnic tripod, which is Oron. And that is what is agitating the mind of the people today, because it should be the turn rightly of Oron people to produce the next government.
Some people would say that, we're really still at a primary level. I mean, like, should it matter, who eventually, or what ethnic, group this particular governor, what ethnic group a leader comes from? Shouldn't it be the qualities of that particular leader? Shouldn't it be what they have been able to deliver?
I agree with you completely. If in that kind of situation in Nigeria, you had a level playing field. If, as we are, a minority people who are struggling to have a sense of belonging, then if you put that up against the other larger groups, then what you are thinking about may never happen in favor of the small group. And what is also very interesting about our situation is that it is similar to the situation in Nigeria. The Niger Delta people were crying that in spite of producing the resources of Nigeria, they had not been availed any opportunity to govern Nigeria. And you know what that led to. In Akwa Ibom State, 99.9% of all the oil produced in the state comes from the minority area. That is, the 5 local governments of Oro Ibom and Eastern Obolo. 7 local governments only. 7 minority ethnic local governments. But then, as we are today, there is an infrastructural transformation of uncommon proportions in Akwa Ibom State. But quite curiously, this has not touched Eke Senatorial District, which produces all the oil. And we challenge people in this studio and outside to go find out for themselves.
So not because that they want the governor to make that specific pronouncement, they're not making that statement because of that?
No, we have been engaging the political class in Akwa Ibom State on this. Because along with the absence of infrastructural development in that part of the country or the state, we also have a situation where the Oron area, for example, although it has been responsible for about 80% of oil production in Akwa Ibom State, was never even classified as oil producing for over 40 years.
How is that so?
And that is
an oil producing, and you say it is up to 80% and is still not having that classification of an oil producing city or town.
It is very curious but true.
So
because we had to invite the National Assembly to come and undertake a survey of the locations of the oil installations. And when they got back, they passed a motion immediately to the effect that Oron, the 5 local governments of Oron, should be formally classified as oil producing. And I do not know of any other community that had to take that route before it was so recognized.
So are you saying then that the people of Oron are asking for political power because they want to be able to bring development to the area?
That is one aspect of it. The other aspect is that we are not second-class citizens. We are an integral part of Akwa Ibom State. We are citizens, and citizens who enable the development of other parts of the state. So it's only fair, it's only just that development should also come to that.
You're from Oron.
Yes, I am, sir.
Okay, because
I'm probably so.
When you said we, you should have your representatives at the National Assembly from your senatorial district, I guess, and also in the State Assembly. What is their thinking on this particular issue you've just raised? Have you brought it before the state chapter of the PDP or the national chapter of your party if you say these are some of the challenges you would want the party to address?
This is a struggle we have waged since the era of military rule up to this point. But that is the plight of most minority peoples. We have even recovered some oil wells from Cross River State, about 76 oil wells. And those wells never made where they belong to, oil producing. I don't know any other part of this country where that kind of thing happens.
What if you're misinterpreting or misconstruing the intentions of the governor? Probably because he didn't follow the exact method of his predecessor by designating a particular area to be next in line.
Every governor wants to leave a legacy of peace, progress, and development. And you can't have progress and development if you don't have peace. So a governor must worry about social justice, which is perhaps the most secure foundation for any kind of peace. So what is fair is to allow the thing go around and give the 3 major ethnic groups a fair opportunity to have a shot at the brass ring.
It comes across as though there's something you're not telling us. Is he saying that that will not be the case, either by his actions or intentions?
Well, my governor is a profoundly religious person. He's a man I know who will be committed to the promotion of equity, fair play, and justice. But there are people who are good in reading things like that, who may suggest that his body language is suggesting something to the contrary. He has had opportunity to deny this, but somehow the perception persists. So we do not want a situation where we wait until too late before pointing out that it will be a very, very catastrophic error not to do what is just and what is fair, because it will subvert the legacy of all that he has been laboring to accomplish in Akwa Ibom State.
So it's still not fair enough that, it's going around by senatorial districts. It has to be on an ethnic basis. I'm still a little concerned that, our politics is still at that level.
Quite unfortunately, nations don't grow out of this kind of situation in a hurry. And in fact, even in nations like the United States, where you thought the ethnic factor had withered away, people are retreating into their ethnic enclaves more and more now in the United States.
So political parties to grow must put that into cognizance. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, you can deploy ethnicity creatively as a positive nation building factor. It doesn't necessarily have to be judged as a very negative thing. You can use it, and I think the people in the Southwest have deployed ethnicity in a very creative and positive manner. Others can learn from that.
Effiong Edunam is the former chairman of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, University of Uyo chapter. Thank you for coming. University of Calabar, beg your pardon. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you, sir.